Hi, this is Dawn. I'm here today with Jen, and we are going to be looking at some astrology specifically for May 18th because there are some big things happening in the sky. But I'll let Jen go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi guys, I'm Jennifer Halliburton with the Awakened Gem Tarot, and I'm one of the Soulful Revolution certified readers. And I'm so excited to be here with Dawn today to go over all the information that she's prepared for us.
Okay, so what I will do now is I will share screen and we will go to that particular day that I want to look at. Is May 18th coming up for us there,
Yes.
Jen? It is great. Okay. So on this particular day, it's going to re-energize all of the things from the new moon, all of the things from the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction that took place. So we're getting a boost of anything that we may have intended. Plus, it's also going to even if you didn't set intentions for that new moon, there's so much energy of moving forward. And this is one of these months of manifestation that I know Christopher Witecki has talked about, where he's never seen anything like this. He's an astrologer that is very famous out there. And he is saying, this energy for manifestation during this month is just huge. But it's also what you're focusing on. So whatever you may be focusing on, if you have drama in your life, you'll get more drama if that's what your focus is. But if you focus on, I'm leaving that behind and moving on to something else, that's what your focus will be on. So I would say look at this energy and take a look at where it is in your chart. And we'll be looking at Jen's chart after I go through what these different planetary movements are. And let's start with, we're going to have at 6:40 a.m. So it would be 7:40 Eastern time, if that's easy for everybody to know. This is when this Venus Uranus conjunction takes place at 23 degrees. Now, the initial Jupiter Uranus conjunction was at 21 degrees. So it's going to be reactivating that conjunction. So if that was a big moment for you, it's going to come back as an echo in a positive way. So you have these two that are together. And then the new moon was at 18 degrees in Taurus. Again, Venus, that's the sign that she rules. She's here. Jupiter is here. All the benefics are in the house in Taurus at this time. The other thing to make note of is we still have all this really nice energy, healing energy that's going on in Aries. And Mars is going through there right now. So everybody should be feeling this Mars moving through Aries energy. And it's right now in that very close conjunction on May 18th with the North Node. So again, the things that you are meant to energize, because Mars is the ruler of Aries. So it being in its own house and it going over all of the degrees of the solar eclipse, it's re-energizing those degrees. So it's helping bring us forward because eclipses are faded energy. So again, Mars is magnifying that faded energy as it goes through this chart, because that was at 1924 degrees. So it's still got its a little way to go before it gets to that conjunction. But with all this other energy that's going to be happening later on in May, that'll be happening around the same time. We do have Chiron here, so that's going to be conjuncting with Mars. So there's going to be healing energy with that you can utilize. So as we look further here, we will have Mercury in the house in Taurus. So that would be very good communication and very grounded communication. Mercury in Taurus tends to watch what it says, right? Um, when it gets to Gemini, I'm a Gemini rising, so I know this. So Mercury in Gemini is very much about speed and communication and messages coming in quickly. But in Taurus, it will tend to more watch what it says. It'll get a lot of things done, but it'll tend to more watch what it's saying. Now, this is Gemini is my rising sign. So this is the 12th house for me in my own personal chart. So a lot of this right now is about my spirituality. It's about the dreams that I'm having. It may be about me being in seclusion and getting some of the things done in my own life that I want to get done on a personal level. But for me, I'm thinking it's probably has a lot to do with the spiritual business that I'm working with and with working with these other ladies, because my 11th house is here. And when we got this started, my 11th house is being activated with everything going on in the chart. So that's definitely part of what's going on in my life right now. So as we look at all of the different houses in the chart, I did cover that. If you want to go back and just go to where the houses are in the video that I did on the new moon in Taurus, I do a brief description of what each of those houses mean, and it's still going to hold true. So if you know where your Taurus is placed in your chart, please go back and it's just going to be a couple minutes long. So it kind of gives you an idea of what you should be trying to work with in your chart, the manifesting. And you also have to look at it with the view of what sign it is, which is Taurus, which can be about money, can be about property, because it is the earth. It can be about food sources. And because Venus happens to be in there, I also feel that it's very much, and Mercury being there, about our communicating with other women. Because Venus is not just love and money. It's also about our relationships with women. Whether you're a man or a woman, Venus also speaks to that. So I think that there's really a great opportunity. Mercury will be coming up onto Venus eventually and catching up. And that, again, is going to emphasize the communication that women have with each other. So those are basically the highlights. Jen, do you have any questions about this thus far?
I don't have questions, but I did notice the 23 degrees is also at 23 minutes. And like I'm looking at it, just both of those, it's 5-5. Changes. That's what I
Thank you, because I didn't catch that. And that's really a huge catch. And I'm sure that we have ladies that do numerology, so feel free to make comments down below in the comment section about what you think about those 23 numbers.
exactly
So
right.
they'll be on that. They'll be on that. But thank you
They
for pointing
will.
it out. So
Yeah.
and then later in the day, as I look at this, because this is happening in my time at 6:40, but later on in the day at 1:45 in the afternoon, at 28:18, again, I'm shouting out the numbers to you, at 28:18 is when the sun and Jupiter will be conjunct exact, perfected in the chart, as they say, perfected. So this is all on the same day. So this is huge energy, I think, for people that are what you focus on, what you're intending, what you set your intentions on. And this positive energy of manifestation, you have Jupiter and Venus, the two benefics in the chart together. And again, we get a really great chance to get all of this energy reactivated when Mars will start going through here in about a month. So all of this energy can be reactivated. That's the nice thing about astrology, is that those things can be reactivated by other planets going over those areas of the chart, especially when they're as strong as the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction. I should say Jupiter-Uranus. That's more proper in astrology. The slower planet is listed first. I mean, the faster planet is listed first. So yeah, so I'm looking at these, and I really think that it's just amazing manifestation. And you do have, I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. It's just big that with these working together. And you do have Saturn over here. With that new moon, it would have been in a sextile, which is helping hand energy to help bring longevity to what you were manifesting, because it would have been so close at that degree. And Saturn is going to be turning retrograde pretty soon here because I think it's somewhere at 17 or 18 degrees. It'll start its retrograde and go back in Pisces for a bit here. So just things that are coming up.
Saturn
So
has been wearing Pisces out.
well, and it's in my 10th house. So when it entered, I actually love it being in Pisces because although it's been a lot of hard work, it's about making my career, which is, with the spiritual business and being Pisces is a spiritual sign, me putting my spiritual business in place with Neptune here. And my natal Neptune is in Scorpio. So I get the benefit of having eventually Saturn will come up and give some energy to Neptune about making our dreams come true because they've been hanging out in the same sign. So that is going to be something that people can keep in the back of their mind regarding
Working
Pisces.
good.
Yeah, it's
Because
it
for those dreams, I love that.
yeah. And one of the things that Rick Levine has said is, Pisces with Neptune there, and it's one of the rulers. Pisces, Neptune can create the dreams, and so does Pisces. But Saturn's there to make them come true for you, to help you make them come true. And now Saturn will require you to do work, but if you like focus and get the work done, then by the time Saturn then leaves Pisces, you get your reward. Saturn rewards you for the work that you've put in. It'll make you work, but it will reward you in the end. So if you take that energy and utilize it, and it's also what areas of the chart is Saturn in your own personal chart, sextiling, trining, squaring. So let's take a look at Jenn's chart. Do you have any other things that you want to mention here? Because that was a great catch.
Yeah. Let's look at my chart.
Okay, here we go. And I ensured that. I will go back to sharing. And we will bring up, where are you? Here, here. Now, do you see it?
I do.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger now, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. So in your chart, we're going to take a look at what this means on somebody's personal chart. So I am going to mention that I have read her chart before, and her 9th house is activated for her in a perfected year. So Mars is very active in her chart, and so is Uranus. So let's go ahead and look where she has all of this energy down here. She has, of course, these will be at the degree of the 23, and then the 28 degrees. 28, 18 is what we said, I think. So do you have anything at those degrees elsewhere in your chart? 23. Oh, gee, look at this. She has her Saturn. It's over here at 23 in a trine, beneficial energy, free flowing. And the third house can be about business, small business, your local neighborhood, merchants, siblings. But in Jenn's case, I really believe that this is about her business and working with her business, because as you move up here and look at the fact that this is going to be trining at 23 degrees, so it's the same degree, which makes it an extra boost, is that it's going to be in her house of one-on-one clients. The 7th house is one-on-one relationships. So that can very much be about clients in her chart. So as we look at other things in the chart, so this is that really nice energy and her intention setting. She has Vesta here. She has her Chiron here at 10 degrees, which would be a little far for this energy, but she has a very nice 5-degree Venus. And actually, Jenn, Mercury is going to help that Venus out because it's going to be at about 3 degrees or so, I believe. 2 or 3 degrees, and your Venus is at 5. So communication will be much easier for you because of that during that time. So that's something that you can keep in mind. She also, because Mars is activated in her chart, it also rules Aries, and Mars is the activated Time Lord of her chart. So anything that Mars is doing is going to be helpful to her. I'm looking at this as a personal chart reading. So that's why I'm making these little, when you look at your own chart, you can catch some of these things as well. So as Mars is moving through here, it's going to be activating all of the things that have happened for everybody in the chart in her second house of resources, her house of money, her house of things that matter to her. So those would be anything in this Aries area, and Mars is going to be going over the North Node. So her being an independent person who's making her own money, very true in this chart. And we did have that really big total solar eclipse at 1924 was the degree for that. So Mars here. And then I will also make a little note that her personal Mars is at 0 degrees also in this house. And it would be in a trine with Mercury again, because Mercury is only at about 2 degrees. So you have these energies that you can look at in your chart and see what they stand for. So I would say in her chart, if Mars were maybe down here in a square and she were born during the day, she was born during the day, but before sunrise. So she's considered a night chart. So if she was born during the day and this was in Leo, then this energy would be from here would be something surprising. And especially if it was located up here, might not be pleasant. It might manifest into something. It could be, because that would be the 6th house. If it would be in a square, it could be a health issue, right? So, but this is the area of the chart that we're looking at, and then how it talks to other things in the chart. Does that make sense to you, Jen?
It does.
Okay. Do you have any other question about this?
No, you did good explaining that.
Okay. So what I will say about when you're looking at the general astrology, and then you bring it into a personal look at your chart, your natal chart is what happened when you took your first breath. I will tell people, I have to tell people this because I had, my first birth was a C-section for my oldest. My second one was a regular delivery. Their charts match them. So if you came early, it's when you drew your first breath. That makes your chart valid no matter what. Okay. So that's the first thing. Your chart is created when you drew your first breath. So that is why getting the timing of the birth is so important, because the ascendant changes every 2 to 2.5 hours. Now, as I look at some of people's personal charts and I bring in like the general information in, it's kind of the same when we do tarot readings, because sometimes what I'll do is I'll do somebody's chart and I'm working with them. And then for a little bit more clarification and insight, we'll do cards. So, and I know the same is true when we're doing general readings for everyone, and you take what your intuition tells you is for yourself, versus doing a personal reading for someone when it's just about that person and everything is related to them. What do you think, Jen?
Yeah, and I mean, I did want us to touch on that, and I wanted us to help show people how to use these tools, how they can work with us to use these tools. So, like one of the things that I was asking you about is one of my intentions and manifestations for this energy is that I am wanting to move more into my own personal business. And so, in order for me to do that, I'm going to have some very difficult conversations. And so, I was asking you, like, based off of the energy of this chart, is this a good time for me to do that? So like if you want to work through how you walk me through that, I think that would be helpful for other people to see like
Well, and
how we use this.
yeah, and when we looked at, I think you were talking about a conversation that you were going to be having um with where you're currently working
Yes,
because
yes.
you're not making enough
Hmm.
just with that job.
Yes.
So I think one of the things that we looked at was the fact that you have Neptune here in this first house. Um, and working with Neptune, let me get back to my, I have to like rethink my brain here for that specific question. Mercury is then in this house, and you have Mercury down here. And I think that's one of the things that we looked at, the fact that because it's in just a little outside of a sextile is 60 degrees, a semi-sextile is 30 degrees. And this would be within that realm as that is coming up. I think when we actually looked at the date of the 15th is when you're thinking about talking to him. Mercury was, I think that's the date. Mercury enters here on that date. So it would have been right around this time, right around this degree here, just at
Mhm.
29 or going
Yeah, it was at that
into,
29. Yeah.
yeah. So that would be, you're going to have this conversation that you're not really quite comfortable with, um, because it's a big conversation to have with someone, right? But the nice thing for you is that you have with this energy over here at at very close to this time, this 18 of May, you have this energy here, this beautiful energy that is going to be trining your Mars over here that's activated for that one-on-one conversation, right?
Yeah.
And it's Mercury that is transiting is then over here. So that conversation, even though you're not comfortable having it, is going to be something that is going to go okay. It's going to go well. And um, and again, it's very interesting the fact that it's in your house of the third house of local community and small business, and
Yeah.
it's going to the house of one-on-one relationships, conversations right there. So those are the things that you would look at. You're going to be, as I look here, Mercury here, I see that you're in a Uranus opposition. So I'm sure for the next 2 years, you're going to have things that pop up unexpectedly with the ninth house, which is actually a great house. If you're going to have Uranus anywhere, that's a good place to have it. And in your local community. So the higher education, that's that ninth house. Travel, that's that ninth house. Foreign things, that's that ninth house. Astrology, that's that ninth house. Down here, local things, vehicles, all that other energy that's down here, small business, merchants. So unexpected things that can be happening, but having Jupiter in this area and Venus in this area, and you have Venus in this area of your chart here, that's going to be beneficial because, that is your most benefic planet. You have a great Venus location in your chart, plus in the area of small business. So those are the kind of things that I would look at in somebody's chart if I was, like I said, we know that this house is being emphasized for her this year up until her next birthday. So her next solar return, this information will change. And she'll then go to this 10th house, where again, she's going to be concentrating on the 10th house, which is the house of career. And then Jupiter is the ruler of that house. So that is going to play into things more at that time. And interestingly enough, when that happens for her, Jupiter will be going across her fourth house down here and being a benefic and in opposition to her 10th house, which is activated, and she does her business from home. Yay. Okay. So yeah, I see very good energy for you coming up, over the next 2 years.
That feels very supportive for the moves that I'm trying to make.
Right,
Like that's
exactly.
really like what I like as I'm looking at this, is this the right time for this, move? And I feel like that it is pointing that I'm right
Right.
on. Yeah.
Because right now your third house is being it's being activated because you have Uranus there anyway. So anything Uranus has been doing, I am betting you've been having unexpected things happening, especially the past couple months as everything is coming up on Uranus now.
Yeah.
and conjuncting it. So unexpected, I'm sure. Lots of new things. So, but yes, because the ninth house is about, it can be about also publishing, but it's also your higher mind. And it's like you getting into gear and getting things figured out in that ninth house of your philosophy and how you want to do things, how you want to set up your spiritual business, because the ninth house can be spiritual as well. It's very much about things that we learned in the temple, right? So the fact that it's there and getting you the education that you need to go into your 10th house of career, and the 10th house being ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is going to be very, very busy and very, very active starting May 25th, as it enters Gemini. So, and then when it does that, it will still, at that time, it will be in a, um, trine with Pluto, which is up here in your 12th house of spirituality. So that's going to be a nice transformative time for you too, especially once you move, when you have your birthday, it'll kind of click more into place. Right now, Pluto isn't activated in your chart, and neither is the 10th house. But when that happens, and I believe your birthday is in March, so next March, when that happens, Jupiter will still be there, but more towards the latter half. But anything that is in that area of your chart with Jupiter, it's very beneficial. It'll be beneficial. So that's what I
Good.
see. So what we also wanted to do is to have Jenn do a tarot reading for the collective. So I will turn things over to her. I'll stop sharing her chart, but do you have any other thing that you might want to ask regarding your chart
No,
quickly?
you did great. I just appreciate you just sharing all that with me.
Okay, let me stop the share and I will let Jenn take over.
All right, so I am using a spread called Bring It To Me today. It is a manifestation spread because we really do want to use these energies while they are beneficial to us. And so I'm going to use the Light Seers Tarot to do the spread. And this is a collective reading, so just take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And if you would like a personal reading with any of us here at the Spiritual View, or any of them on the Soul Revolution certified readers, we will link that down in the description box below. And we also are already planning our next episode of the Spiritual View. We're going to be talking about the Fool's Journey, and that will be on Friday, May 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And let's see, one more thing. We've added a new service for our Soulful Revolution readings. We have one burning question service. It is a 15-minute pre-recorded reading, and you can just ask, your most burning question. The prices vary between the readers. It's between $50 and $65, and we will link that down below as well. Right, did I cover everything that we were trying to get?
You covered everything perfectly that we were trying to get. So thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right. We had a whole lot on the list here we were trying to get in. Let's get these cards. All right. So the first card is, what energy is needed to attract in our manifestations? So we have the Tower. So, I mean, I think that we just need to be adaptable for one, and not be so like holding so tightly to things. I think we need to be ready to release the things that are, trying to leave our lives. And that is something that I've talked about in several readings lately, is just being in flow, not trying to hold so tight to everything, and just letting what is coming in, come in, and what it's trying to leave. So, I think that's just the adaptability. We need to not be holding so tightly and trying to control the outcome. What energy are we currently emitting? We have the King of Cups. Well, that's a great energy to be emitting. So that's very peaceful, it's calm. I think that especially for the people that are going to be watching us, most of us are on this higher vibrational timeline. So we're not panicking as much when these things show up because, if you watched our last episode of the Spiritual View, we talked about the tower energy and how it is meant to be beneficial, bring beneficial changes to our lives. And it's all about the way that we look at it. And so I think that if this is where we're sitting, then we can expect those tower energies to be a beneficial impact to us. Let's see, what action can we take right now to bring in our manifestations successfully? The Six of Swords. So we've got to move away from the trauma of the past. This is, it's really finally moving on from those stories and all the things that have been holding you back. That's just moving on from the stuff that's been holding you back. That's what I'm getting. Um, Confirmation that our manifestations are coming in. So how do we know that it's working? We have the Empress. So I think that it's just the way that you're going to feel, like that you just feel, that you're in the flow, that you're just in that creative energy, and just like that stuff is just kind of flowing. You're not being, am I saying, are you getting that, Dawn? Are you following with that?
Yeah, the thing that I am loving all what the cards are saying, and because
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt too much because I'll say stuff at the end, but for me, the Empress is also about receiving
Thank you.
in, because that's part of when you set a manifestation and you have to release it to the universe so the universe can work on it. And then you just get ready to receive it.
Yes.
You're in the receiving mode. That's divine feminine, is receiving. And I
And
think that's
that's
exactly
also
what
been
happened.
a very loud message about just really the divine feminine energy is the energy needed most right now, of the receptivity. Okay, so when can we expect our manifestations to come in? So we have the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like right now it's the season is right, the energy is right, but like the idea with the ace is it's the potential. So the energy is there. It's about what you're going to do with this. So you've got to be the one that's planting the seed and taking action with the energy that's there. So when will it come in? The minute that you start taking action towards the things that you're wanting. All right. So is there any final messages from Spirit on this manifestation portal? Well, I don't think we're calling it a portal, but this manifestation energy of 518. We have the Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is a self-made woman. So she has accomplished a lot. She's very proud of what she's accomplished. She's very generous. So I think that this is just like, just remember how far you've come. Like, remember what you've already accomplished. And I mean, so as things are changing and they look scary, just you can start looking back at just everything you've been through to this point and how everything has continued to work out for you. Every time it looked like it wasn't going to work, and just at that last minute, things just kind of came out better than what you ever even imagined. So that's what I'm okay. So I'm going to turn it back over to you.
I love it. And what I want to say is, when the very first card came out, the Tower is Uranus energy. It's now energy, and the time, I am not kidding. The time is now to take action on what your dreams are. And when you take a step, the universe takes 10 steps. So anything that I want to manifest this, I'm leaving this to the universe. But you know what? I'm getting stuff lined up. Okay, if I'm working on my own personal business, um, starting a YouTube channel, which I just did, the other things that are involved in that, which is very Aries energy and activated in my chart. So those things, taking those steps, then it's going to be expanded. You take the steps and then the universe expands them. And the second card was the King of Cups, which is that very much of knowing your feelings. And that's your intuition, very much so. Being able to trust yourself and knowing who you are. The King of Cups knows himself. Knows himself. Now, what was our third card?
It was the Six of Swords.
Six of Swords, moving into calmer waters. And what I will say is this, I know that there's things called the summer of love that is coming, which I believe, but this is how things are setting up astrologically with the Libra South node and the Aries North node. The relationships that are not meant for us are leaving. And what this manifestation is telling us to do is the first thing that's going to happen during the summer of love is we have to love ourselves. King of Cups, have to love ourselves. And then because these relationships that aren't meant for us have been leaving, the toxic relationships, it's going to bring in, because you love yourself, someone else loves you too, right? It'll bring in that relationship. And that's what a lot of they've been talking about is going to be happening. And then it's going to be a really nice summer, FYI. So enjoy it, get out there, have a good time. And Christopher Witecki was talking about that there's going to be light workers meeting each other, right? Because when Pluto goes back into Capricorn, and there's going to be kind of a mess in the fall, everybody knows it, everybody expects it. But us people that are light workers and look at things from a higher vibration, we get the higher timeline. We get that better timeline. We get that better vibration timeline. So even though we might have to be dealing with some of the things that the collective is dealing with, we might have a partner to help us. We might have a tribe to help us. So that is that energy that, because we are working on ourselves, that's what's happening, and getting in that receiving mode. I'm learning to love myself. And and treat yourself like a queen, like the Queen of Pentacles. Treat yourself awesome. If you think that someone that you love would take you to go see music, find a friend and go to a concert. Do those things that treat yourself in a better way, and you'll find someone that does the same. Does that make sense
Yes.
to you, Jen?
Yep.
I just really, really love this energy coming up. And it'll get a little chaotic in the fall, especially starting in September, late August, starting in September. But a lot of that is going to be the collective learning a lesson. Okay. We are light workers and working on things, and we can use, sometimes the planets say things like Saturn is a lot of work, but I'm utilizing Saturn. I don't let Saturn run amok in my 10th house. I use the energy of Saturn instead of Saturn using my energy. So those are the things that intentions help you with. You using the energy, surfing the energy, as they say, to make things more beneficial, as opposed to letting things happen. So that's kind of what we're doing at the Spiritual View, is we're trying to give you tools to work with things, to keep you on that higher timeline and answer the questions that you might have that are coming up. I think we're talking about doing some things live with some of the Spiritual View coming up. We'll see what time frame we can get. June's going to be crazy busy for everybody, but
Yeah. I definitely want to get some of that going. On the Fridays, the fun Fridays, getting some lives going. Yeah.
so I think that will wrap us up for now. But um, hopefully I'll be able to give you some updates as things are, because there's some great stuff happening in May and June. So we will, cover like the astrology and look at maybe someone else's chart a little bit, although you had great examples of what was going on. So I really think that this is a great time for everybody. And the beautiful card reading is saying that's exactly what's going on right now. And we have a lot to look forward to. So thank you very much for watching.
Thank
And we
you.
will see you again soon.
Bye.